Hey guys, welcome back to the Tukes and Tires YouTube channel. As always, I'm Zach. In this video, we're talking about the do's and don'ts about hot rod power tour if you're thinking about going on it for your first time, and we're busting into the T5 transmission and seeing what went wrong and throwing a new one in it and seeing if we can fix it.
Hey, is that Timmy's?
Yeah, because we're in Canada. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Like I said, I'm Zach. If you're new here, so this video we're actually going to be tearing into the 54, see what went wrong with the transmission on Power Tour, and towards the end of the video we're actually going to talk about me being like a rookie to Power Tour, what I would do differently, what worked good, what to plan for next time if we're going to be doing Power Tour. So that's going to be super cool. So let's get everything cleaned out of the truck that I packed in there before we left, and then we'll see about moving this thing, moving Dad's wagon, and we'll get it on the hoist and see about yanking the transmission out of it. So let's get after it. Okay, so we got everything cleaned out. Let's see if she's gonna fire up. It's gonna be like one pump. Oh, beauty. Man, this truck is so awesome. You know, it just fires up. You can like daily this thing anytime. Yeah, so let's get Dad's wagon out of the way. She's coming down. This thing's getting closer to having paint on it. Dad's got pretty much everything underneath all done up. He's just gonna do the rear end after I fix my transmission. He's got like a Camaro one to throw in it, but let's get this unhooked here. Oh, wow. Oh. Friggin' love old junk. That's awesome. Okay, let's see if we can do this one shot. No problem. Sick. So off camera, we got the shifter unbolted and the truck in the air. So far, first glances, there's obviously not much to see. It was dripping, we're thinking, from that old vehicle speed sensor there, just because I overfilled the transmission. That fluid still looks pretty good. My truck's pretty easy to take the transmission out. All I have to do is I got to take drive shaft, cross member. I don't have to take any exhaust out, and we can get this transmission out of there. So I'm gonna get the cross member and drive shaft out, and then we'll set you guys up and then yank it out of here. So let's get after it. Well, you got 2 bolts left?
Yeah, if you take the driver and you drive them out.
I think the aluminum plate's gonna...
Does it stay or does it come with?
I think it goes with it. Okay.
Got that in?
Yep, I got it.
Okay.
Cool. What's the end feel like? Oh yeah. You feel loose that.
You hear the grinding in there?
Definitely that bearing, I think. So got the transmission out of there. Dad just put a bungee strap onto the actual clutch fork there so the bearing would stay in place, so that's super cool. We didn't end up draining it because it actually wasn't too heavy, but from the little bit of fluid that came out when we took the drive shaft out, it's pretty bad. And then if I put my foot on the back there, we're thinking it's the front bearing on this input shaft, so it's making a lot of noise. This has a lot of play. So from my knowledge, there's some kind of thrust spacer in there, and most likely that chewed itself apart. But luckily, we have a pile of transmissions over there where Dad's standing in the way. So what we're going to do is we're going to find one that sounds a little bit better. We got to transfer some parts over because we're probably going to reuse this aluminum plate. We got a little special adapter thing on here basically to center that, and that's only just because I didn't want to cut this shaft off in an S10 input shaft. This is like really long, so that way you don't have to do anything. You just put this plate on there and you don't have to cut that off. So we're going to find one that's in better shape than this one, and then so upon further inspection, I ain't got no pilot bearing left. That thing is completely gone. So what we think was happening was the friction disc was just flying around anywhere it wanted to, so it was like it would like move this all over the place, so basically wearing out the bearing. And possibly there's like a little thrust plate in there. That's probably the metal shavings we've seen inside there. So I will definitely be keeping this transmission. I'll probably just replace the bearing in the front here because that shouldn't be too bad to replace, but we did find a replacement transmission back here that we just got to take some parts off of that other one. So this one is definitely a lot stiffer and it sounds smooth. I have no idea what the internals are in this transmission, but probably better than the other one over there. So we're going to get the clutch off, we're going to fix up that pilot bearing and throw this transmission, or that one, into it. So yeah, that's a thing. So we got the clutch off, and that is looking pretty smoked in there. There is like nothing left of that pilot bearing. There's a bunch of clutch material there, but the clutch itself doesn't look too bad. This center has a good wobble to it where the splines are. I do have another clutch, so I think I'm going to probably grab that instead of this one while we're here, because I don't want any issues with this down the road. Like I don't think it's supposed to move like that much, but luckily we caught it now, and we just didn't throw another transmission into it. So yeah, that's something. And we drove 2,600 miles with it, like basically like this. So that really shows you how tough small block Chevy really is. So, and T5 transmission. So we'll get this all cleaned up. I'll see about finding myself a new bearing. I think Dad found something, and we'll see about trying to pound out the remaining of that old pilot bearing. There is not much left of it. So I was actually just out picking up some parts, but Dad got this pilot bearing all figured out. We're going to a bearing style one now. Have no idea where this is from, but it does fit onto the input shaft. We just had to make up this spacer to fit in here. Before we were running a brass one, so any kind of movement, it would have worn it out. So this is going to be a lot better, and we ended up finding a new friction disc just because of the center, and this thing is like so like wobbly for some reason, so that's no good. We'll keep it around for, you know, mock-up or whatever, but I did have this one laying around. We fixed this one in the past too. Just one of the springs came out of it, so we just welded it, but it's probably going to be a lot better than that one. So I'm going to get this clutch slapped together, and then we'll come back to once we're actually putting the new transmission in. Lacey, what do you think? Huh? Yeah. Okay, you ready?
Yep. Just grab underneath somewhere. You're gonna have to get your hand out of the way.
Yeah, bring it up. You ready?
Yep.
There's probably dirt on the shaft. plate, I think, is on there wrong. Plate's on there on the wrong side.
It is?
Yep, it's got to spin 180, I think. Physically, like the plate's got to go. Yep. Okay, I got it. Okay, you ready?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, go. Go up, go up, go up, go up. Oh my God. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Oh, which bolts were in the bottom? It doesn't matter. Cool, there we go. Now all we gotta do is cinch down the rest of the bolts, hook the clutch fork back up to the Z-bar, and then we're gonna see if it sounds any better. So that's a win so far. So this new transmission's all bolted up in there. We checked the fluid, added some. It was about a quart low, so should be all good there. Threw a new transmission mount on it because that thing was smoked out. Got that from pre-60s Vintage Auto Supply, so check that down in the link down below. He's got a whole bunch of awesome parts, and you just never know what you might find on his website. But now what we're going to do, we're going to bring it down. I'm going to bolt the shifter back up, and then we're going to take it for a rip. So hopefully this transmission's in better shape than that one. I think it's going to be. Okay guys, so got everything all bolted into the truck, got the shifter back on. For some strange reason, third gear, just messing around in here with it, it goes really far for some reason, other than all my other T5s, but hopefully that's gonna be fine. But now we're gonna take it on a rip and see if we hear any noise. So so far out of the barn, I didn't hear anything driving out, so hopefully it's gonna be good. Before it was pretty instant. I don't hear anything right now other than just squeaks. Hopefully don't get caught in rain because it is pretty dark that way, so I think we're gonna go this way. In the barn, and we'll talk about what I would do differently on Hot Rod Power Tour. So this is awesome. Okay guys, so we just got back from our rip. The truck's running really awesome, so I'm really happy on how everything went back together. Thankfully I had everything here at home to fix it, so it didn't cost me anything other than just some time, and thankful for Dad for lathing that piece for me while I was out picking up some parts. So thanks Dad. Power Tour was a blast. If you haven't done it, definitely go do it. This year was my first year of doing Power Tour, and I had an awesome time. Definitely don't procrastinate on it. Just take whatever you got. Who cares if you're not driving something old? Even just to go sightsee and see all the old cars is just so awesome. You're never going to see anything like it in your life. What are they? It's the world's largest moving car show or road trip, and it definitely is. It's like you're gonna see everything and unique stuff and just weird stuff. You're definitely gonna see a lot of 2010 Camaros and Corvettes and new stuff like that too, but it's all fun. You know, they're all hot rods and somebody loves them, so it's, you know, it's an awesome experience, so definitely go do it. Being my first time doing Power Tour, I definitely learned a lot and what I would do differently. So basically I didn't know how Power Tour worked, and I wanted to talk about that in this video. So my understanding was that it's like, you know, you're gonna do a bunch of driving and you got to get there. So I was like, for us, we're 16 hours away just to the first venue, and I was so concerned about getting down to the venue. I didn't enjoy our drive getting down there, and then we had transmission troubles, so I was pretty stressed out. But basically the way Power Tour works is you go to the venue the first day, you get your hotel or whatever you're doing, and then the next day you do a bunch of driving. And I didn't know that, so that's definitely something to understand. Obviously, I didn't do any research. I just kind of knew where to go, and it was like, we're going to follow everybody else. So that's something I learned, that's how it works for the driving aspect of it. The routes that they take you on are beautiful. You're going to see a bunch of cool stuff. And, you know, the roads down there, though, are crazy, and we're going to get to that. There's not much that I would do differently for Power Tour. We had a great time. You know, meeting a lot of new friends, you know, just working on cool stuff, because we definitely did a lot of working on other people's stuff than my own. But don't worry if you're going to break down there, if, you know, you're not going to have anybody to help you, because you are. There are hundreds of people willing to help you because they're not working on their own car, so they'd rather work on something. And we had so many people say to us, like, hey, if your transmission's busted and you find a new one, we're definitely going to help you out. We're going to get that thing jacked up. We're going to get it out of there. So don't be worried about that point of it, because there's so many people willing to help you. So that was awesome to see. Obviously, the car community, everybody's crazy, so, you know. But the only thing that I would do really differently for Power Tour that I wish I would have done was some stuff to my truck itself. We definitely changed a bunch of stuff before we left. But there was some stuff that I was procrastinating on that I wish I would have done now. So my truck badly needed a bump steer kit. So we did wear the front tires a little bit funny. But other than that, everything else ran pretty good. I did do a nut and bolt check after we came back, and I did definitely have to tighten some stuff up. And that's another thing about the roads down there. Here in Canada, where I'm from, Ontario, the roads I thought were bad, but they're actually really nice apparently, and the roads down in the States are really rough. So you're going to put your vehicle under so much stress that it's never been under before. So definitely suspension stuff is something to look at while you're going down there, and that was one thing I just didn't even think about, because I'm like, well, the roads are going to be fine. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe you think the roads are great down there, but to me, we must have it really good here in Ontario. But that was one thing I looked over. I was very thankful that I did a shroud on my rad. You're going to be sitting in a lot of lines. At one point, I think we sat in like an hour-and-a-half long traffic just to get into a venue. So definitely look at your cooling system. Make sure that you're not going to have any problems there. Maybe throw an electric fan on your car, because you're going to be sitting in a lot of traffic, and the heat is a lot different down in the States. Being from Canada, it's very cool here compared to down there. So that was one thing. I was talking to some people, and they said, hey, you know, think about this, and it's definitely hot. Bring sunscreen. I did not bring sunscreen, and I didn't know I could burn where the places I burned. But yeah, just a lot of, you're going to be putting your vehicle under a lot of stress, so just make sure you go over everything. That's a big thing I would probably check off. Tool-wise, a lot of people said don't overbring tools. So definitely go check out the video that we did before Power Tour. We laid out a whole bunch of tools and everything that we were bringing. In that video, I was so thankful that I brought everything that I did. Some things I did forget, like a hammer and chisel, but you know, other people had that, and at one point we just went to a store and just bought it. So you know, we weren't too out there, but definitely bring a socket set, bring some wiring stuff, vice grips, you know, basically the essentials that you're going to need anything to fix anything on your vehicle. Well, we used my tools on other people's stuff more than we did on mine, so that was kind of cool. If you're driving something unique on Power Tour, definitely bring parts that you don't think are going to be available. What we were driving, everything was pretty relatively available for us. I got like G-body stuff. I'm running a small block Chevy, so I wasn't too worried there. So I didn't bring too many extra parts with us. But that's definitely something to think about if you're driving something really unique or you just don't think you're going to be able to get the parts at the parts store. So that's something to think about. Everybody's willing to even just help you that way too. They're willing to go to the parts store and get you parts. So don't think you need friends down there while you're driving on Power Tour, because there's going to be somebody and you're going to make friends by the end of it. I don't know if there's much else I would do differently on Power Tour. I'm not going to get into fuel costs in this video just because for everybody it might be different. You can definitely go watch somebody else's video to find out that information. Just know you're going to be putting a bunch of miles on your vehicle, so you're going to be stopping for gas probably every 2 hours at least. At least I was. You know, hotels are going to be expensive because they know Power Tour is coming through town. So you just got to plan for that stuff. Maybe pre-book in advance if you're going that way. And, you know, food is food. Bring a cooler. Drink lots of water because it's going to be really hot. And make sure you got a big cooler that you can fit bunch of drinks in, because somebody's probably going to be coming asking you for a drink if you have them. So definitely was thankful that we brought the cooler that we did, and we had friends that had a cooler and we could keep hydrated, because that was a huge thing that I thought about a little bit before we left, but I didn't really go over it a lot. Definitely comment down below if there's something I missed or what you should bring or what you would do differently than what I did. I definitely learned a lot, like I said. So if we do it next year or in 2 years from now, I will know how to go about it, and we'll have just in probably a better time than we did this time, but definitely go do Power Tour if you haven't done it. I'm super thankful for the friends that we had that we could cruise with, and hanging out with Rich and DeBoss and all those people, meeting everybody down there. It was super cool. So I can't wait till next time. But I think that's going to do it for this video, guys. Definitely go check out the other videos if you haven't yet. You know, we had a blast on Power Tour, meeting new friends and just having a good time with everybody that's down there. You're going to see something cool. You're going to have a great time, and don't sweat it. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much for subscribing. And as always, don't forget to salute the beaver. We'll catch you next time.